Welcome back to another episode of Grizzly True Crime. My name is Gisela K, and today we're going to be looking at one of the latest interviews given by Libby German's mother. If you don't know who Libby German is, she is one of the victims of the Delphi double homicide that took place on February 13th, 2017. So it's been more than 5 years. The case remains unsolved. I know that people are getting very, very frustrated with law enforcement and just the things they say because they've released so little information that I think at this point the public just feels kind of helpless. Like, what more can the public do? But we got to keep their case in the spotlight. We got to keep talking about it. We got to keep, their names lit up because we do want the case to be solved. I really hope it can be. I also start worrying, can it be? Will it always be? Will it become a cold case? I really hope not. But let's dive in and have a look at the interview. Again, thank you so much for joining me here today. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do that. Hit the bell, comment below, like the video, share it, and do all that good stuff. It's been almost a year since I started my channel, and I'm so grateful for every single viewer, subscriber, member, Patreon, and every other supporter. So thank you so much. Okay, let's have a look at the interview. This is Libby and Kelsey German's mother. So let's see what she's got to say.
I just feel like they seem to have ignored information and maybe clues that were right in front of their face the whole time.
New tonight, the mother of one of the girls murdered in Delphi 5 years ago says she has lost faith in law enforcement.
Which we all understand, right? It's been 5 years and the police are still saying, we know. You don't know what we know. We don't know what they know. And we don't really know what they're working with. But I understand why she feels that way and why she's saying these things. So let's continue to look at what she's got to say.
They don't know what they're doing still. They're kind of just circling around the same thing and nothing. There's not really been a lot of movement in the case.
Carrie Timmons is still trying to connect the dots. She wants to know why law enforcement never told her family about two people they were looking into as possible early suspects in the murders of her daughter, Libby German, and her friend, Abby Williams.
It's weird that all this information just now comes out and they act like it's no big deal. So I don't know how.
So we're talking about the information that's just recently come out about Ron Logan, the owner of the property where the girls' bodies were found, initially being a prime suspect. They got a search warrant to search his house. They actually searched his house 3 times. The first time was just because, that's where the bodies were found. The second time was an official search warrant ordered by the FBI. And the third time was because of DUI charges. So I understand that must be very frustrating for the family to think that they weren't told about that, and it's only just come out now in 2022. Never mind the whole Keegan Klein thing. I mean, they also weren't told about that. So I do find that questionable. I'm trying not to judge, but why not keep the family up to date a little bit? Especially if the public, of course, knows all the stuff now.
Important it really is to the actual case, but it seems that there's a lot more information out there than what we know.
In December 2021, iTeammate was the first to uncover the 2017 investigation into Keegan Klein. He's the man behind the Anthony Schatz profile that police say Libby was communicating with the day the girls went missing. We also told you about the request for a search warrant on the property of Ronald Logan, where the girls' bodies were found. Timmons says despite disturbing details in the search warrant, including the part where an FBI agent says the girls' bodies were moved and staged, she doesn't believe Ronald Logan was the killer.
If they had a case against him, they would have built it. They had easy access to do so. And I mean, I've never really believed that Ron Logan did it. I believe that, and I have said that maybe he knows who did or knows, new information because it was.
I think that's kind of how we all felt when we had a deep dive and looked at Ron Logan. I mean, I know that it's a little bit split, right? It's not quite 50-50. It's almost like, I would say, 20% of people, from what I've seen in my own comments in this community, firmly believe that Ron Logan, who has passed away in January 2022, that he's the guy who did this. Well, 80%, from what I can tell, believe either that he didn't do it at all, or that he knows who did, or, knows more than what he told the public. So let me know again what you think in the comments below.
They were on his property.
Timmons says she has asked Indiana State Police Superintendent Doug Carter to fill in the gaps, but she says so far that hasn't happened. She says she even looked into sources from outside of Indiana for help.
Doug Carter and I don't particularly see eye to eye. We never have. I mean, I've had conversations with police. I've spoken with private investigators, but most of the people that I've spoken with have basically said there's not really a whole lot they can do considering the police won't release information.
At this point, Timmons says she isn't confident the case is any closer to being solved.
I do want to know why we still don't have answers, why we're still at a standstill 5 years later, especially knowing what we know now.
Okay, so let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you agree or not with what Libby's mother has said? I mean, I'm pretty sure we'll agree. It has been a very frustrating case, not only to follow, but to cover and to just immerse oneself in, because it just makes no sense. They have video footage, they've got audio, they've got sketches. They apparently have DNA as well. And 5 years later, the case remains unsolved. I mean, is it a network of people? Is it someone that is just so smart, such a calculated serial killer type, because they talk about signatures and all this kind of stuff, that they actually got away with it? And will this person kill again? Has he killed before? If that's what we're dealing with. I also find it strange, of course, that the FBI is involved, and it's just, I know that cases aren't solved like they are on TV. They are not solved quickly or overnight or anything like that, but this is a very, very long time with almost no answers, and just kind of, it feels like, distractions, like, ooh, Keegan Kline and Ron Logan, and then, all these distractions. But what's really going on in the case is pretty much what I suppose everyone wants to know, but especially the family. I mean, we also saw recently, if you missed that episode, I will link it for you somewhere up there in the cards, of Becky Patty, Libby's grandmother, saying that initially they were led to believe that there was no social media involvement whatsoever. But now she can see from what law enforcement is saying, and that they're looking for, people who interacted with the Anthony Shots account, that there is an element of social media. So even that was frustrating for her, Anyway, I just truly hope that this case will be solved. I really hope we're not actually sitting here and saying now it's 6 years, 7 years, 8 years. I mean, just that thought alone scares me, and it feels very, very painful, because all we really want is justice for Abby and Libby. We really that's what we want. We want the case closed and answers, not just out of, I know true crimers, we're all curious, but at the end of the day, it cannot just be that those two girls were, according to police, so brutally murdered and then left in a way where their bodies were staged on Ron Logan's property, and souvenirs were taken and things like that, and then the guys never caught, or the guys, or whoever, guys, girls, ladies, I don't know, whoever it was never caught. Now, one of the interesting things, just before I end off here, that I found out recently, and I do need to dig deeper. So if you guys actually have the resources, here in the Netherlands, I can't access in-depth background checks on American citizens, of course not. So not even with a VPN, you can't do it. So what I found interesting was watching a video recently about Cody Petty. Now, some people covering the Delphi case might roll their eyes. It tends to happen in the community, covering it of like, oh no, what is this one saying now? But I found it interesting that, from what I understand, Becky Petty, Libby's grandmother, adopted Cody Petty from her brother, who couldn't look after Cody. But then Cody somehow ended up in prison, right? And he was released on the Thursday, and by the Monday, the girls were murdered. And 2 hours before the murders, he had said on Facebook that all he wants to do is nut a 14-year-old. To me, that is a giant red flag. So if they say that the only DNA that they found on the girls speculatively was familial DNA, some say Kelsey's DNA, I don't know. I don't know why they say that, but just say familial DNA. That would make sense to me if it is someone in the family. That's not to attack the family. It's just, apparently, there's a couple of felons in the family, And you just, in any true crime case, usually, a homicide more than likely is committed by someone that the person knows. So this could be completely an unknown person, of course. But I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to just look at the extended family or anyone like, for example, Cody, who was in prison, was released, and then 4 days later, things happen. You know what I mean? It's just, and his Facebook post. We're just busy talking about social media, the things people post, and that some of these things should be red flag. To me, that's a red flag. To talk about, I don't know, nutting a 14-year-old. And Abby and Libby were 13 and 14. So I found it interesting. You let me know in the comments below. I'm sorry if that offends anyone that I'm saying that. It's just we can't really overlook things. We got to look at everything if we can and always keep that door open for speculation, especially in an unsolved case. You know? Okay. So, I also wanted to say that next week, depending on when you're watching this, it's May 30th, 2022 now. Next week, so first week of June, I'm going to be on The Monsters Under Our Bed with Chris. And we're going to be doing a little collaboration over there, which I'm very excited for. So I hope you'll check it out. I'll let you know when that's happening. Stay safe, stay snarky, keep it grizzly, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.